Dude, so pumped. Thank you for coming back on the show. Thank you for reaching out. Uh, if you don't know him, I don't know where you've been, but the man, the husband, the analyst to the stars, John Young CrossFit. I always thought that our second podcast together would be like me trying to tell you who's the greatest of all time.
A
And
continued debate.
yeah, like I
Yeah,
was
right before the CrossFit Games too. Here we are.
right? Yeah, for sure.
Podcast we're gonna have.
I was totally planning on it being that, but I appreciate you reaching out to me. I appreciate you taking the time to what happened was John saw a clip of a podcast I did with Mercedes and Jana, and we were talking about religion. And he went back and actually watched the whole podcast and saw us talking a little bit about religion, which is always a taboo subject, right? You're not supposed to talk about that, or politics. You're not supposed to talk about religion or politics. And he did. And then he reached out to me and he's like, hey, four lesbians talking about religion, any chance, straight white guy.
Word for word. That's what I said. Yeah.
A straight married white guy could come on and talk about religion with you. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm all about it. Heidi, my link must be missing. Look, DM me. I'll send you a link. Come on, whatever. I'll take a straight.
Colleen will send you a link.
So yeah, I'm terrible at it. Yeah, I fucked up. Colleen will send you a link. Yeah, so it was very cool. Something that you saw in the podcast fired you up and made you want to reach out. And I think it had something to do with like something Mercedes said. I think you agreed with something that Mercedes said, like from a true Christian. Well, let's start with where we grew up first to see where we all fall in. Like, what did you grow up with? Like Catholic, you're Catholic, you
No. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say my family's like Baptist or Lutheran or anything like that. Like you can get into the different types of churches there are, but no, I would say I grew up typical Christian family. Mom went to church, dad didn't. She worked in the nursery, so like I would go to a big church just by myself, just sit by myself, and basically, I don't know. Sometimes I'd play a game, sometimes I'd listen, but nothing crazy. And then I think, as most people would describe, I was like a typical Christian grown up experience. I think what most people would describe it as.
So did you do the whole thing? Like, okay, so I grew up Methodist. I was baptized as a kid, and then what is it? When I was like, when you're like 12 or 14, you're supposed to be what?
Communion?
No. Well, for Catholics, confirmed. Thank you. I didn't do it. I did it as a choice after I graduated high school. I wanted to be confirmed. And so I did all the classes. And then I was confirmed later as like a mini adult.
Mm-hmm.
So did you do all that? Was that?
No, it's like I'm not Catholic, so it didn't get confirmed.
I wasn't either. I grew up Methodist, bro.
I got baptized when I was like 7, and it wasn't a true thing. I asked Jesus into my heart, but like I didn't know what that meant. You know what I mean? Right. And I wasn't changed or anything, so I don't count. I really don't count that. When I was like 16 or 17, I got rebaptized, and I would consider that me being saved.
So you never went to like confirmation class? Like I had to
go. That's just Catholics. I know you did it, but like that's just a Catholic thing. Being confirmed.
Okay, so basically you're saying that Methodist Church is like a branch of the Catholic Church?
I know that's not what I'm saying, but that's a Catholic thing. It's getting confirmed.
Heidi, yeah, Methodist Church is very pro-gay, so that checks out. Yeah, it wasn't when I was growing up, but yeah, now it is for sure. But And also too, though, we weren't allowed to get married in the Methodist church at the time. We got married in 2012, and we got married in a Lutheran church, if
Mhm.
that helps anybody anywhere. But
Maybe you just went to like a funky church.
maybe you went to a funky church.
Maybe.
What did your look? You weren't even baptized when you were a baby. I was baptized when I
No,
was.
I wasn't baptized when I was a baby. No,
So what was the reason for that?
I don't.
Did your
Again, I
parents?
think maybe yours is a sect off of off of the Catholic beliefs because like that's a Catholic thing too. Or it's just I'm not saying it's a just a
I'm just
Catholic
kidding.
thing,
I'm
but
just kidding, dude. I'm just playing with you. I don't know what they all mean either. Like I have no idea. I think it's
and honestly, it's not a big deal. I don't think any of that's a big deal.
so.
Those
What's
are just
the
rules.
so? Do you guys do like the Lord's Prayer and like, or do you do? Because we don't do the Rosary like prayer that Catholics do, but we do the Lord's Prayer, like Our Father who art in heaven,
When do you do that?
uh, all the time.
So no, I don't do those.
You
But
don't.
it's not no.
Oh, so you didn't have to learn any of that? I had to memorize so much crap.
No. I mean, there was like stuff like Awanas, but like it's not like you have to do this stuff.
Awanas. Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
you
just like
want to do?
yeah, like it's just like kids learning verses. You get an award if you've memorized a certain amount of verses, but it's like it's just a kids thing. It's not you don't have to go to that class. You don't have to do anything. Um, I think a big thing. I mean this can lead to our conversation. I think a big thing that's very misconstrued, and I would argue that the Catholic Church is very bad about this. I hope people don't get offended by it, but is that you have to go through all these hoops, you have to jump through or there's all these rules to get saved, and like I think a big thing people get confused about is that you're not. There is nothing that you can do that makes you earn heaven, that makes you deserve heaven. Everybody's a sinner. Nobody's worthy of heaven. Jesus is the only one. And getting And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to get confirmed or to do these things. None of it's bad. It's all good, you know, but like that doesn't make anybody better than anybody else if they've memorized all the verses in the Bible or memorized no verses in the Bible. Like it's all of that stuff is good. It should get you closer to the Lord because it's all about knowing what's in the Bible to live the most Christ like you can live. But it's people will know who you are by how you live, not what you have done or like your works, by how you live.
Okay. Holy crap. So what wait a minute. What what babe, what church were you what did your mother bring you up in?
So I grew up in a Lutheran church and I was baptized in communion and, would go to Sunday school. And, my mother was very big in the church of helping. And like Christmas time, we would, adopt families and do all that kind of stuff. And I was very much into it. But then I got older. And then I also had a family members that was like, that would do more like forced religion, I think I would call it, where they were forcing the word, they were forcing rules, they were forcing like it had to be this way, you have to do it this way, you have to come to church, you have to do all these things. And I don't know if they were Catholic or Christian, so I'm not sure. But it was very intense. It was completely forced. So I actually like stepped away from it for a long time. Like I never because it felt so forced, I very much went the other way. But growing up when I was younger, my mother would take me to a Lutheran church and I grew up in that kind of church.
So saved by faith, not by works.
hmm And I think this is a lot of people, um, like think, oh, I go to church every week. These people that aren't going to church don't know as much as me, or, um, y'all are more sinful than I am. Like, you know, that none of that matters. You think whenever you die and like you're in front of Jesus and he goes through the book of life, and then you go, but I went to church every single week. He goes, you don't know me. That's what he's going to say, because you don't. Like, if you think that's what gets you to heaven, then you don't at all. And I would love to poll people on how much they read their Bible. Like the people that go to church every single week verbatim, and like me and my wife, we go to church. I wouldn't say every single week. We try to, but like we probably miss one a month. You know what I mean? Either I'm just wrecked and want to sleep in, and it's completely my fault, or I mean, honestly, it's usually my fault when we don't go. But uh, it's not like it's not something that you try to throw into somebody's face. You know what I mean? Or like that makes
So,
you
so
better.
you believe the part about how church is everywhere. It doesn't have to be in an actual physical church. Like if you're outside with nature, with God, with you know what I mean? Like that can
You don't
be
have to be at a church to worship God. I think you can
right.
worship God anywhere, anytime, in any moment. But I'm not anti-church. I do think church is a great place to keep you accountable. I find it's like a great accountable thing. Like there's so many times where it's like the preacher starts preaching and you feel like he's preaching to you. But like I think a lot of people experience that because that's what God is putting on their heart in the moment. You know what I mean? Where he can relate to them, and sometimes doesn't relate at all. But
I
those
would say the same thing. I always thought that church was like I always enjoyed going to church to learn. Like I liked the history. I liked the history of the Bible. I liked the history of the Romans. I liked all that stuff. And then but when it came to like being baptized and washing yourself clean and like I felt I could do that on my own. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I could
So
go
it's
jump
funny that you
in.
said baptized, because like when you're getting baptized, that is to show the world that you are saved by God. Like you are washed clean. It's like a proclamation to the world. It's like when you're getting baptized, like it's good that it doesn't have to be in front of anybody, but I do think it's good that it's in front of people because you're showing, like you're proud of it. It's not something you're trying to hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Just that
so
that one thing is what it was just funny that you brought that up. That you said you could do it on your own. You know what I
I
mean? I think worshiping, absolutely.
but I always took baptism as all right, hold on, let me just Heidi, church can also be full of BS. Sure. I can't pull it up anymore. I don't know why, but you did say that. Yeah, thank you. Church can also be full of BS. Sure, there's some ridiculous churches out there. Church nowadays is more inspirational message on how to be a good person and not lob off your neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like Lakewood Church is like that. Like I live in Houston, and Joel Osteen is down here, and he has a mega church. But then I would say that you need to look. I would find the right church, and whatever church is preaching from the Word. And I'm not talking about they have one verse and then a whole message about that verse. Like we're gonna read Ephesians 22 through 27. Um, and like we're gonna go word by word what this means, what it meant in context, what Paul is trying to say. You know what I mean? All this stuff. Um, Not just one verse, and then this is my message about why this applies to your life. No, like if you go like in depth about this is what was happening at the time. This is what he's trying to make happen, and this is what he's telling these people why they're effing up. And like that's what I think. Like there are churches that preach like their pastor is preaching like that, and you have to find the right places. You can't find a motivational speaker.
I always going back to the water and the baptism and the whatever thing, like it's something to show people that you've been saved by God, blessed by God. Is that what you said, basically?
It's a proclamation to the world that you are saved. Like you're like you are a Christian. This is what you're doing.
And to me, I always took it as a thing where like I could just go wash myself clean. Like if I dunked myself in the ocean, or if I was just running water on my head or something like that, like I would just say the Lord's Prayer and I felt like I was clean again. I don't know if that's like that's a sin or that's not a thing that
Why would that be a sin?
I don't know, but that's just what they tell you, right? Like where it's you
So
need
what do you think the Lord's Prayer is? Like when you're saying the Lord's Prayer, what do you think that is?
I find comfort in the Lord's Prayer very much, and I just feel like I'm
But like
I'm
in context, why are we saying the Lord's Prayer?
for me, just to ask for forgiveness, for whatever dumb shit I did as a teenager, and like,
Do you think if you've said that once as a teenager, you have to say it again? You've
um,
already asked for forgiveness.
I don't know. Uh, how many times do you have to ask for forgiveness? I've always been taught that you
You
ask.
were forgiven before you even asked.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, the second Jesus died on the cross, you were forgiven. You know what I mean? And like you asking for forgiveness is, I think, like a realization, like you're meeting Jesus in that middle point when you ask for forgiveness. He's already been there. He's been there waiting on you to knock. And then you asking for forgiveness is opening the door. Um, but like the Lord's Prayer is it's how you're supposed to pray. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was. Like that's I forget when he says it, but it's around like the Last Supper time. Like this is how you pray. Um, or like when you're talking to somebody or like they don't even know when to start. I know a lot of people when you ask, well, why don't you pray about it? You're like, I don't know where to start. And
Yeah, that's where you start. Yeah.
yeah, I'm really bad at this too. And but like when I pray, it's I think God gets a kick out of it because most of the time I'm like, God, I don't even know what I'm trying to pray for, but like you know that I'm hurting and like help me out. Like that's a lot of my prayers are like that. They're very not intellectual at all, but he knows what I'm trying to say. And just me trying to talk to him, he'll meet you halfway.
Okay, hold on. I need a second to breathe. Jeffrey Birchfield, baptism in the Baptist faith is a symbolic acceptance of Jesus as the Savior. Yeah, I think that's what we were kind of taught to. Heidi Kroom, baptism is not a requirement to be saved. They're on the cross. John, tell her. Yeah, he told me. He hit me. He hit me. Keeping it real, I can't. I'm trying really hard, bro. But John, talk.
He's in it. He's in it.
Yeah, he's ready.
We'll get
Okay, hold on.
in it.
Yeah,
Can you put so like when you ask for forgiveness, I don't when like you were talking about most of the time I'm just saying forgive me for all the dumb stuff I did when I was young. I think that hits on everybody. I think everybody's dumb and young.
yeah, of course. Yeah, you don't
um
know any better. Yeah, for sure.
right. But like you sin every day. You know what I mean? I sin every day. Everybody sins every single day. So like when you ask for forgiveness, it's not forgiving of the past. It's like just what's going on right now. You know what I mean? And I think like it's almost beautiful um living the life of a true Christian because every single day you're trying to strive to be more Christ-like, knowing you're going to fail, knowing you're going to fall short. Like every single day you're going to fall short of not being sinful. But that's why you have Jesus. That's why you have like the spirit inside of you to be like, I gotcha. You know what I mean? Like your flesh is like you're so weak because of your flesh. But if you have Jesus, it's all good. Everything's good because he's gonna take care of you.
Heidi, I don't know this quote. I like it a lot though. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Yeah, mercy.
Yeah, that's kind of like Old Testament to New Testament. Like, back in the day, every time they committed a sin, they had to sacrifice a goat or a lamb or something to atone for their sins. And now it's just like realization that you're a sinner and Jesus is God. That's it.
So what was it in our podcast? What was it Jana talking? Was it that where she just was like, I know I'm a sinner. I know that I've done X, Y, and Z.
No, it was when like it was when, and I don't, if she listens to all of your podcasts, like
She doesn't, believe
don't
me,
get
it's
mad at
fine.
me, Mercedes, for, like she said, I read all 6 verses of being a homosexual, and none of them had what it was like to live in a monogamous relationship. And then like y'all kind of moved on, and I mean that's fine. But I was like, it drove me wild, and I'm like, first off, if you're going to read a verse, you need to read the whole chapter, because almost every single verse about homosexuality, and I mean, and this is an interesting topic,
Yeah, no,
because
tell me. I want to
yeah,
know. Yeah.
um, like Paul is talking to the Corinthians, and then one is in Timothy. But he's a lot of it like the Corinthians are like my favorite. They're my favorite books, because the Corinthians, it's the city of Corinth. Paul's writing to them, and basically they mess up a lot. Like, oh, these people are trying to get it together, but they're really bad. Like um,
Yeah.
and it's not just homosexuality. He says adulterers, just liars, like literally, basically just calling out everybody. But everybody wants to hide or harp on homosexuality, and I think Mercedes is dead on when people are like, they put that sin up like it's the worst one out of all
Of
of them,
all of them.
and it's the same thing. Like, I think everybody in the world struggles with a certain type of sin. And like most guys struggle with pride. I know I struggle with pride, and like that's one of the biggest sins. I tell my wife to, like, hey, knock me down, because I won't know that I'm being prideful.
Right.
And then lust, right? And pride and lust I think are the 2 biggest ones for guys. But everybody struggles with a couple things more than the other stuff. And homosexuality, and I know we're probably going to have like a hard disagree here, and that's
No,
fine.
we're gonna have a conversation. We're not
But
gonna have a
like,
hard
it's like,
discussion.
no, but it's okay. It's okay if we think different things, is what I'm saying. Like, it's not. I don't want to have any rift, but like I would argue that homosexuality is just one of those things that like somebody's always going to have. It's always going to be there no matter what.
For sure.
Um,
Hold on 1 second.
okay.
Jody Lynn, girl, God, you guys in the comments are killing me. You're hitting me with like Lord's Prayer or a couple hundred burpees, same result, clarity. I understand burpees better than the prayer giving me clarity. I also think that too. I feel like maybe you just said it better than me. Maybe it was just like as a kid, the Lord's Prayer gave me clarity. Same thing as when I learned, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. That one just made me feel better about dying.
Should
Like,
give you peace.
yeah, like it just gave me a sense of, okay, if I die, like as long as I accept the Lord and I accept Jesus and I accept what like I'm just gonna be hugged when I die kind of thing. You know what I mean? So maybe that is absolutely it. Um I wanted to get this one to Sarah Beth. Can you pull that one up? It won't let me right now. Sarah Beth Jumper. It is finished. It is already done. He has forgiven appropriation, past, present, and future. It is all done by Christ on the cross. I mean, fair. John hit me hard with that one. I had never thought about that. I'm probably gonna have to go, I don't know, read something and think about that a lot for a little bit. But yeah, fair. I mean, I've never, ever, ever, ever thought religion was a bad thing or belief was a bad thing. Yeah, even in Santa Claus. Like kids believing in Santa Claus to me just kind of teaches them how to believe in something that they can't see. When they monetized it, then I kind of hated it. But like when you're taught to believe in somebody good running around the world doing good for people, like I like that. Um, but as far as what you were saying, John, with the homosexuality thing and making that a sin bigger than all the other sins, yeah, kind of. I didn't think about that either, and that's kind of always the comeback that gay people have is, hey, you think we're sinning so badly, but yet you you cheat on your wife, or you steal, or you like, is our sin bigger? That's always the fight, right? Is our sin bigger than your sin?
And I would respond with absolutely not. And one of the verses in the Bible, and I should know it offhand, but it like what it is, but I don't, is don't focus on the speck of wood in your neighbor's eye when you have a log in your own. Um, but and I'm not saying I really, really dislike the people that stand on the side of the street, the Westboro type people, like just scream at you that you're going to hell. Um, like those people are going to hell too without Jesus. Everybody's going to hell without Jesus. It's not like, and that's not the way to get people. Like you should love everybody. Like you should. But I would my response to that would be like, no, it's not greater than my sin, but it doesn't take away that it is sin. And I think, and it's okay if like I think it's okay for me to have this opinion. This is my belief, and then you to have your opinion. That is your belief, and we could still be friends. That's fine. Like I've
Yeah.
had like great conversations with Muslim people that were like, we're never gonna come eye to eye.
You
But
don't have to justify any, like, it's fine. I get it. I understand.
like it doesn't take away that it is a sin. And whenever she was saying like, I never saw in the Bible what a monogamous relationship was, it's because Paul is calling out everybody like these are the wrong things that you're doing, and then the right things are later on in the book. Like keep reading.
Yeah.
Like there are so many verses to talk about like this man and woman. I mean, you can go from the start or you can go in the past. Like Peter like 3:17 talks about a beautiful relationship, but it talks about the order. And in today's society, you really don't like the order, right? Because it's got God's first, and then it's man, and then it's your wife, and then it's your children. And that's the biblical family of like what it is to have a good Christian family. And then wives submit to your husbands, and husbands love your wife as Christ loved the church. And when he says that, like
Oh,
God,
husbands love your wife as what?
as God loved the church. And what that means is like God gave his son up to die and suffer like incredibly and away all the sins of the world bearing on this man, knowing that this was the way for people to have a relationship with him, knowing like this is how people are going to be saved and go to heaven much easier than following these 300 rules that the Pharisees want to enforce 24/7, right? And all it took is just believing in this man, that this is the Son of God. But like he loved us, God loved us so much that he's going to send his son down to die for everybody. And that is how a husband should love his wife, that he would give up his life the way God did for the church. And that's what that verse is saying. Like, and I think people like read and they just read blindly. But like you need, like if you're ever reading the Bible, like try to read it in a way of like, what is he trying to say?
But that's cool because, okay, so that's more than I can't even just say that's cool. That's obviously
It is cool.
That's what I would want. That's what I would want for everybody, right? That's what I would want for every wife. That's what I would want for every husband, to be able to experience a love of his wife so great that it mirrored God's love of the church, right? Like I would want men to be able to experience that, and I would want women to be able to experience that type of love. And I wonder why we are so just bent on the fact that we have to tell each other who sinned more.
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it does either, because at the end, like,
so like this is, and that ate me up a little bit too. Like if you're talking about like a true Christian, when I say the word true Christian, these people are not going to go out and And I'll use y'all's relationship as an example, and like condemn you and tell you that you're going to hell, what you're doing is wrong. Like, these people are going to love you, and they're like, listen, what y'all are doing is probably wrong. Like it's wrong in my eyes, but I love you. And if you ever have any questions, or you feel like a certain way, or you want to talk, or you want to read the Bible and figure out what he's trying to say, I'm here. You know what I mean? If that day never comes, the day never comes. It's fine. You know,
I think that's the thing that's so hard, and it puts a rift between gay people and straight people.
I
i-
100%.
Is the idea that were we born gay, or is it a choice that we're
I think,
making?
I mean, y'all could probably answer this better than I can. But like everybody that I've ever talked to, I think you are born with that struggle day one.
Yeah, I would say that too. I've also explored the idea because Jana has told me that she felt like she experienced some sort of trauma and resorted to that. I've heard other people say that too. Um, I can't say otherwise. Like I don't I can I didn't know. I can't say that I knew when I was like 7.
No,
Uh,
but like once like hormones hit and stuff, like I
yeah,
think you were always going to have,
going to be. Yeah,
and
so if you
and I'm gonna say struggle, y'all are gonna say this is out, this is what I am, right? But like you're always going to have, like you were always going to have that. I've always had lust.
yeah.
Like I've always had it.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it. Okay, fair. That's fair. So then what with that, if looking at both of those things, like you've always struggled with lust, we've always struggled with homosexuality. If looking at it that way, then what, like how do you,
Say no to that.
yeah. Like is it,
God, Jesus.
so you said no to lust through Jesus?
I think it helps a lot, a lot, a lot. Like for instance, like if every single time I wanted to look at porn, I read the Bible first for 5 minutes. Just and like I'll flip to verses that are about lust, right? I won't want to watch porn after that.
Okay, so that's why I feel like
Or if I
maybe
pray about it. But
we can't compare the two, because it's not that I'm not looking at it like, oh, I just want to have sex. Like,
mhm.
I just can't keep myself from having sex. It's just that I want to love one woman. I want to
Yeah.
be with one woman. I want to have a family with one woman.
So
I'm
then
not
I would come back with, I think your sin is much harder than mine.
okay.
To
That's
to
fair.
to to I'm not gonna say like I think conquer is the wrong word, but to turn away from, I think is much harder. I think I think I think most of the time what I struggle with is very like self-satisfying or very like quick, like and then it's over, right?
Immediate gratification.
Yes, yes. Where yours is a lifetime. And like
Because I
that's
would say,
I think that like that's trash. But like some people are born with no arms and no legs. That'd be more trash. Right? Like, and I'm not saying like
no, no, no. I get, I
I'm not
understand what
ranking
you're saying.
them,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I
but
understand what you're saying.
that is how I look at it.
But I would say our morals align with yours, right? So
Why
like,
that's not gonna change your morals. That doesn't change who you are as people, how
no,
good you are as people, you
but
know?
just kind of reconcile, like for us, like for gay people, reconciling the sin in our head. I think that a way that we do it for this like example that we're giving right now is, I just want to love my wife. I want to make sure my wife is protected, provided for.
Mhm.
She wants to make sure that I'm okay. She wants to take care of the home. She wants to make sure that, you know, we're happy. We both want to make sure our son is provided for and he gets everything that he needs. We don't want to cheat on each other. We don't, look
Okay,
for.
I think I would come back with, I think you can love whoever the second that you act on a sexual act, it's sin.
Okay.
And
But this,
again, the second that I have sex with Leslie before we're married, it's sin. But the realization of that, like, I think is a big thing. Like in from my viewpoint. And I wouldn't even say realization from my viewpoint, like from my viewpoint to you guys internally. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my place to condemn you, but like if you ask my opinion or like what I like as a Christian, what I would say, that's what I would say. You know what I mean?
I'm not like, don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at you for it. I don't think that like if you view it as sin, like okay, I will think about it in that way and okay, perceive it in that way and just try to, also as a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
feel like respect your viewpoint, respect your values, respect your, and try to see the word the way that you read the word. And actually, you've explained a lot to me today that kind of like hit like my core. It's not even, you know what I mean? Like
Well, Heidi also brings up a good point. Can you bring up this comment, her
the
last one?
yeah.
And like here's the thing, like if you
Hold
it's
on,
not
Sevon, don't be mad at me. Heidi Krum, the sin part doesn't matter until you accept Jesus.
like if you are not a Christian, if you don't accept Jesus into like your heart, you could care less. Like let's just say that's where you guys are. Like then I have no place, nobody does to call you out for anything because you are you're like for me it's wrong, but like you're not on like you're not floating where I'm floating. You know what I mean? Like, and I want you to be, I want you on my team, but if you're not, I have no place to call you out at all. You know what I mean? Because you're not claiming that you're a Christian and this is okay and everybody can do that. Like it's fine. Those verses in the Bible don't matter. Like I don't think you're claiming that.
But I feel like I am a Christian and I feel like I do. Heidi, I'm gonna get to this last comment because I really like it and I want to understand what you're saying right there. But I feel like I am a Christian and I feel like I take steps to always like I know I mess up. I've you can go back and look through. I'm messed up all over the internet. I've messed up all over. I mean, I grew up. I was a teenager in the '90s, so there's no real proof that I did back then. But like, it's there. I didn't. Like, if you can find my old
We were
beeper, you can
safe back
figure it
then.
out. But like,
You're gonna die, and then
yeah,
you're gonna
like
look at God, be like show me on Facebook where I did that. You ain't got no
you
proof.
ain't got no proof.
There's
Like, yeah,
no proof.
but like, sure, I've done all of it, but I also don't. I like to think that I don't. When someone else messes up, I don't judge them for it. I just try to help them figure out how they messed up, where they could. You can see it. You can figure it out as a grown up. Like you try to not make the same mistakes twice. You try to talk about it more. You try to be more, present in whatever it is that you're doing and whatnot.
Okay, and I would say, and like, and this is where, and I think we will disagree on this.
Okay.
I will say that's what I'm doing now for you guys, and it's
Oh, okay, I get it.
you
You're
see what I'm
doing that
saying?
for us. Okay, sure. Yep.
Because I think Heidi said it, a comment before, like way before. It's the realization that like makes it different. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what you would
And
say
if you're like, I know this is sin, I just don't care, then that's between you and God.
no, but I want to say this out loud so that like if other gay people watch this or lesbians watch this, I want you to understand like what he's saying is he's doing that for us. He is trying to help us see the light and help us like come closer to God. It was that Heidi's comment. Focus
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Jesus
sort of. Yeah,
and
yes.
and then take steps toward him. Okay.
Mhm. And like the closer you get to God, I promise you, the more fault that you will see in it. And I get
Real quick.
Bernie Cannon, God has a VCR and all the tapes. TMZ has nothing. Fair. I did do a lot of shit on VCR. It's fine.
You can take to 2 hours to rewind it.
Yeah, it'll take forever.
Um,
uh,
yeah, and
I,
I'm go ahead, go ahead.
I, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
And we can focus on my sins if y'all want to too. It's
No,
not
fine.
like
No,
like
I'll just,
I don't want this to come across like it's
no,
you know what I
it
mean?
doesn't. It doesn't, because this is a real conversation that as gay people we need to understand, and we need to know. We need to, and I feel like you also need to know what it is for us too.
For
Like,
100%.
I wouldn't say that I'm just like, hey, I'm sinning, I don't give a fuck. Like, I would go steal from 800 people and just be like, well, I need it and it's how I survive. So I just don't give a fuck. Just gonna go steal. I would never say that, and I would never do that. Like, I would never, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so for me to be like, I know I'm sinning as a gay person and I just don't care, it's not that. I don't think that. I don't think the majority of us, like, regular normal people, think that.
Mhm.
I think what we're trying to say is, if we live to God's word, does it, but I guess it just doesn't, because at the end of the day, you guys believe that marriage can only be between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, and like I wouldn't believe that if it didn't say that explicitly multiple times
Hey,
in the Bible.
what if we weren't married? What if we were just like old school back in the day and we were just like,
Again, if you loved each other and just never had sex with each other, but you loved each other, and it's you and Colleen to death, like y'all are just on it, right? No problem.
so it's the sex part.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And like,
So
and
we could get married and file taxes and get those tax breaks and shit, but it's just the
well,
fact
you said if you weren't married. I mean, it says pretty specifically marriage is a man and a woman, but that was funny. But like, okay, so like
God's design was a man and woman. Okay.
if me and Leslie never got married, but we never did anything sexual and we're just partners for life, but like then I would put that in the same boat. You know what I mean? It's just, again,
So
I'm
the
gonna come back
sticking
to, I
point,
just think it's a harder sin to deal with, and maybe that's why it's held on such a pedestal.
so the sticking point is sex before marriage, and that marriage is between a man and a woman. So that's the thing. Like, you guys can't have sex before marriage. You have to enter that covenant with God,
Hmm.
and then you can have sex.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Because when you have sex, like it's you're bonded to that person.
Yes.
That
Yes.
oxytocin releases. Like y'all have shared something,
Yes.
Mhm.
and that's not meant for. That's not that God didn't want that for anything but marriage.
Or
And that's what makes you closer to that person. You have to think and I know it's so taboo nowadays to actually follow through with that. But like, think if everybody only had sex with the person they were married to, like how close marriages would be, and like how 50% of marriages end in divorce. If people never had sex with anybody else except the person they were married, like from day one, I bet it wouldn't be like that.
for sure. For for sure. Like, and I'm not asking you to answer this question. It's a rhetorical question just to put out there. I'm even asking it to myself. How many people, or how many women did you try to see if you could have that bond with? Where did you go to see if you could try to have that bond with that woman? How far did you go to see if you could try to have that bond with the woman before your wife? Like, it's
How do you mean? What do you mean?
like, so
Like
is
if I thought she was marriage
it
material?
is no, is literally, is your wife the only woman that you've ever been with and ever tried to see if you could have that sanctity of marriage with?
No.
Right.
But I wasn't trying to have. I would say okay. I would say to have that sanctity with marriage, yes. But I had sex before marriage and it was meaningless to me.
Right.
And like as most guys are, and that's not a cop out. You know what I mean? It's just as sinful. Um, and and I think sex is lost a little bit because of that. I think I would be closer to my wife if we did. I think
If
our
you guys,
marriage would be stronger if we did, if like that was the case.
I don't, I can't say that your marriage would be stronger. I think that your marriage is pretty fucking strong, but like
You can always be
I also agree though that if so I'll say this, and I like the nuances I'm sure people will have like things about, but my wife and I have worked so hard at marriage. We've worked so hard at like communication. We've worked so hard at being able to, know each other's roles in the household even. Like
And
you
what's
kind of
funny,
have
I think as two women, you're probably better at that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
but like and that bond, I think that you're right. I think that bond makes sex better. I think it makes sex more important. I think it makes it more like you respect it more. You respect who you're having sex, like your wife more. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it does. Sex isn't just like, oh, MTV. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at the person that you just kind of want to be enthralled
You've
in.
given yourself to this person.
Right. Exactly. Yes, that. And I don't know, it's hard for me like to believe that me following what the good book and doing what I think God wants me to do, being a wife, being a mother, that I that is just wrong just because we're two women. You know what I mean? Like that's hard for me. I
Mhm.
understand what you're saying and I hear you. And okay, I can act like yes, I respect what you're saying and I respect what you believe. But for me, it's just hard to believe that doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing as far as marriage is concerned, and as far as loving my wife is concerned, and as far that is something God will be mad at me for later.
Well, no. And did you think it was gonna be easy?
No, no,
You know?
no. I've been gay a long time. It wasn't easy.
Yeah,
Like,
like, well, but I'm saying, like, that's I don't think it's easy for what's funny is it should be the easiest thing for everybody to make that decision, but, like, I don't think that decision's easy for anybody.
is
You
it
have to
easy for you guys? Like, how hard is it for you to follow God's commandments as a heterosexual?
I would say the when I go through a roller coaster, I think most people do, but like the more that I read my Bible, the easier it is. And I know that's like such a cop out thing, but like if you just start at Matthew and then go, um, if you just read letters from Paul, I mean, you can even read Old Testament because there are good parables in there too. Um, like it's much much easier to follow God's word the more you read the Bible, the closer you are to God, the more you go to church. Like I know we talked about church, but like it's just always like reminders in your head, so then when sinful things come about, it's easy to say no, right? I you can't scroll on Instagram without seeing a naked girl every fourth picture, right? Like
Yep.
it's easier to say no to any of that stuff. The more and more I read my Bible, the more closer I am to God. And I would say I go through roller coasters. Like sometimes, and like I'm a quick liar. Like I'll lie so quick without even thinking about it because I'm pretty quick with coming up with things like as I'm talking, and then like I'll just say something so wrong just to see if somebody will buy it. And then I'll forget to say I was kidding. And then like now this whole version, this whole story is like fabricated. But I I I I would say I go ebbs and flows. It's never easy. We all struggle with it. I know that I'm very prideful. I can be very prideful, and Leslie helps me with that a lot. She's very good at knocking me down. Um, I would say I think I'm prideful whenever I'm doing the analyst stuff with CrossFit. Um, like I want to be the best analyst. I think I am the best analyst, and every single time I brag about it, it's probably coming from a sinful place. my wife struggles with selfishness. And it's like we all struggle with things. It's not like it gets any easier. Or like if you rely on yourself, you'll lose it. Like you'll be just as sinful as the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. You cannot rely on yourself at all. You have to rely on God, on Jesus. You have to, the closer you are to Jesus, the better, the easier it is to say no to sin, and then the happier you'll be, the more at peace you'll be. I find that when I'm on my highs,
Wow, savage accusation of your wife.
she'll tell you that too. She'll tell you that too. I was just trying to bring another person. Never mind. My wife's perfect.
I know.
She's beautiful. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
be careful on the wife analysis. You'll be sleeping
Yeah.
on. Yeah, for sure.
The closer I am with God, the more happy I am in life too. Things are just way, way less stressful. Everything is better. And then I'll get on. I'll stop. So like I remember when semifinals was going on, and I was on basically the computer for 72 hours podcasting, and I would just get angry so quick at everything. So I would say it's easy sometimes and it's hard sometimes. And that just depends on how close I am with God in that moment. And if I could be close, and like I should be closer than I am. And I think almost every Christian can say that. I'll put it to you like this. If I had the Bible memorized as good as I have like CrossFit Games events memorized, like I would be so much better for it. So much better for it.
I just think more conversations need that. Because do you guys ever, okay, so like when you talk in your groups and your Bible studies and your whatever, do you guys ever disagree about what the word is?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
well, some.
or is
I would say we disagree on how it like applies to somebody's life. You know what I mean? Like I don't think, like, for the most part, like I think, you know, the word is what the word is. It's unbending. But when somebody's like the people will use verses to justify what they're doing, and like it's okay because the Bible says this. But like when you're using it to justify yourself doing something, like it's not, that verse is out of context.
So then I would ask this, to kind of wrap up that section of the conversation. If you're kind of doing, you know, the thing for us where like you just kind of forgive us and try to help us get closer to God and kind of help us kind of try to find ourselves, and and you don't believe our marriage is real and it can only be between a man and a woman, which is fine. I have no problem with that. Can you still just love us and we're friends and we hang out
all day,
like,
every day? Like I would argue probably more than the people that I would agree with. if that makes sense. Like,
but I think that's the thing that gay people are so fearful of, is the fact that like someone can disagree with you and I still think you're an awesome person. Like,
yeah, my best friend in college, his name was Abdelbeki Zagdoud. And he's from Algeria, and he was hardcore Muslim. He had his carpet. He prayed 6 times a day. I had to leave the room when he had to turn to the east, and that's fine. but and he was my best friend, and in college he was my best friend, and we'd have debates like galore, and I read the entire Quran to try to convince him to come over to the Christian side, and he wouldn't budge. But every single time that I studied a different religion, I became closer in mine. It just solidified my beliefs. But we have a great friendship, and we couldn't be more different as far as our beliefs go.
Keeping it real, judge not lest ye be judged, most misquoted. Heidi, Jesus would be at y'all's house having dinner. God, I hope so. Dear Lord.
Yeah. You know, most of the people that Jesus hung out with were prostitutes and thieves.
Okay, I'm not a prostitute. I would
I'm
like
not,
to
I'm not
say
saying
I
no,
do
no.
think
I'm saying okay. Think of
that you are
somebody
my
way,
first
way, way
male
worse than
crush.
you. Is that that's who Jesus is with?
I would just like
Y'all
to
aren't
say
sinful enough for Jesus to hang out with. Okay, like if y'all step it up a little bit, maybe. But no, yeah.
that
And I think that gets lost so much because churches can be very judgmental.
it was funny. The first podcast I did with Sevon when he was asking me about my life, and somebody in the comments, I can't remember who it was at this point, it was so long ago, but they said something like, I don't think Rich Froning would like you.
Me
And
or you?
me,
Okay.
because
Why?
it was just
I got you.
because I was a
Gotcha.
lesbian. It was just I think it was just all in good fun, the chat
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think it was all in good fun. But they said that, and I kind of took that one to heart a little bit, and then it was just kind of like, yeah, no, I've watched everything Rich Froning for a very long time. I don't think he gives a fuck. Like, as long as I'm not hurting him or anything that he's doing, or the same way, like, I'm not hurting you or anything you're doing. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not out trying to mess with anybody else or make anybody else believe anything I believe.
No, you just living your life, and I
I'm
mean,
just,
honestly, you're open to these conversations, which is more than I can say for most people,
Mhm.
straight or gay, like most people. I would just in general.
like,
You know what I
and
mean?
I want to understand too, though. I'm curious too. I want to know too. I want to know what I don't get to talk to straight married white men a lot, like about religion, since you want to call me a prostitute. But like,
I did not say that. Just
And he's gonna make sure to say we cannot clip that part.
that'll be the
will not,
only part clipped to this podcast, and
I
I'll
will
be like,
not clip that. I
"That's just
promise. I
fantastic."
can't promise for anybody else, but I won't clip it. But like, I also want to know. It is comforting for me to know that even though like we might disagree on our theological like positions or whatnot, that we're okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean I don't like you. It doesn't mean I don't respect you. And it doesn't mean that you don't respect me. And I think that's what times makes it so like believe what I believe.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
what about black men? They don't normally agree with us either. That's fine. That- That's cool. We're good. We're out. Look, we're used to it. We're out here fighting our own people at this point. Like, um, anything else? I'm pretty sure Rich might not like John. He
Yeah.
blasphemes mayhem
Yeah,
all
I
the
would think Risha wouldn't like me more than you.
time. But dude, yeah, I hope we can have more of these conversations. I really do like it. There was one other question that I kind of wanted to ask you, but we got rolling and the chat got me kind of teary eyed, and then you kind of chest bumped me and like,
Let's hear it.
but the other thing that one day I would love to sit down and like have a real long conversation is, how did religion kind of shape your politics? Because I've been back and forth, right? Like I was super liberal. Now I'm not. I was super religious when I was younger, and my religion was definitely like, I'm a registered Republican from when I was 18 because my grandpa, my religion, my faith, my whatever. I wouldn't say I was super conservative, but I was conservative.
Mhm.
And then somewhere I got lost, and I got I think I lost my religion or got mad at religion a little bit because of politics, maybe. And
Mhm.
no, I have to think. That's what I'm saying. It's a conversation for another day. But I'm curious how religion shapes politics or politics shapes religion.
Yeah, I would say I don't think I care about politics very much at all. I as far as like the people running, I'm not like I think it's
Not even that. They're both like whatever. They're both kind of
right. I mean,
whatever.
like I there are a couple topics that are very important to me that
Right. That's
like
most people though. That's most the population.
right. Yeah, yeah. And I mean like the abortion one's a big one, right?
Yep.
And like I'm gonna vote on the side that's not abortion. That's just
And for us, it's men and women's spaces.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I mean, like, and that kind of, yeah. I mean, there's multiple topics like that. That one side is pretty aligned with what I would want.
but
So
wouldn't you think though that for you and I, the abortion topic, we would be like like we would have opposing views on the abortion topic,
I don't think that's a problem for you guys.
but but we're women though. Like we're obviously 90.
Right, but you guys in particular, I don't think
No,
that's
it's
an issue for us. What I'm
it's not
saying.
an issue. No.
Um,
But
I
unfair.
don't think all women.
It could be an issue for us in, do we get caught in a bathroom with a dude that wants to be a woman and now we can't.
That's a different topic than
No,
abortion.
but what if we get pregnant from it?
Oh, yeah.
So
No,
it's,
for sure.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and that's I think that's y'all. I think that's my like blindness as a man that I just don't think of that stuff. And I don't have kids. I guarantee you, JR's thought about it. I guarantee you
Once
that
you have
influences
kids,
how he
bro,
votes.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, for
So
sure.
Kids
you know,
change.
he's got 2
Kids
little
change you.
girls.
Kids change everything.
Yeah.
And the way
But
that
like,
you look about everything.
so okay, so I brought that to your attention, but also too, though, we both very much agree on the fact I don't want men in women's spaces. I don't want.
No, I agree 100%. I agree, and I
No.
don't want the other way around either. Like I don't. I 100% agree with that. Very, very much so.
That'll be another good one. So the next time you see a clip that I put up,
Yeah,
and
we talk about trans things. That's funny. That'll be an interesting topic because I would assume, you know what I mean. But no, that would be good. That'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, we definitely have to do this again. I'm glad
Way less knowledgeable on those things, though. letting you know,
So you get to ask us some questions, and then just same way I got to ask you some questions. It's oh, John, what Bernie Gannon? Oh, let me ask these questions that they're Bernie Gannon. John, what's your position on birth control?
Yeah, I haven't put a lot of thought into it. To be honest with you. If it stops conception, I think it starts at conception. And if you aren't if it stops conception, then I don't think it started. Right. Plan B is a different story.
Fair. Heidi Kroom, Colleen can't accidentally get pregnant. Yeah, for sure. I explained why it would be weird, but also, yeah, like it's not like I could just go fall on a penis and get pregnant. I can't do that. What else we got? Bernie Gannon, just to be accurate, John said prostitutes are thieves. Okay, fair. Wiggle room. Gotcha.
Colleen's the thief. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I'm getting fun. I'm the prostitute. Colleen's the thief. Yes, I love it. And Kenneth the Lab. My mom got pretty ostracized when she divorced my pop's cheating.
My piece of shit
cheating drunk dad. Yeah, fair. All right. I feel like Heidi Kroom, technically I could fall into what? Well, technically you could fall on a penis and get pregnant, but then you'd be cheating. What if I fell on it? I'd cheat. I feel like that's unfair. If I fell on it, it's not like a try.
I think that's between you and God, and you can have that conversation and come to a conclusion.
Our Father who art in heaven. Okay. Awesome. John, I really appreciate you, bro. Thank you
Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate it too.
It was great. And I hope we get to do this on another topic again soon. Cause I think
I learned a lot. I know I'm not
you're
quiet, but I learned a lot. You know, and it's very interesting to me because I don't have strong faith. I don't have a faith. I don't follow a faith. And I like I was telling you earlier, like I fell out of religion and faith a long time ago, you know, and it's always interesting to me to hear about people's faith and how they believe and what they believe and what scripture they follow or what, you know, we were kind of talking about this before we jumped on or whatever about not everybody can hear scripture from a place of love because it's been weaponized so much. And in my experience, more than not, it's been used as a weapon to be told like you're worthless and that
that's crazy because the New Testament is just love. It's
Yeah.
just Jesus
Just read the
loving
new one.
everybody.
No, you
Yeah.
have to read the.
But also like
Old
something,
Testament's a little raffle.
Yeah,
but,
that's tough.
and something that was interesting for me just listening to you talk about it, the question that I guess I would have is that because for most of what I heard was that Garrett and I are wrong. Like our marriage is wrong. And I'm sure that that's a lot of what people hear, is that, you're sinning all day. It's wrong. It's anti-God. It's anti-Jesus. It's anti all this type of stuff. So that we're being wrong. So I guess in a way it does feel like a little bit of a judgment kind of position.
Mhm.
How would you invite someone to try to receive it from a place of love? I guess would be a question, if that's actually a good question.
I would say if Jesus were here today, he would love y'all. And
Mhm.
he would come, he would talk to y'all just from love. It's not from judgment. And you can go back and like read where Mary, the other one, not Jesus' mom, Mary Magdalene.
Don't say the word. Don't say the word.
But like she was doing all kinds of things, really bad things.
Mhm.
And like once again, Jesus forgave you the second he died on the cross. And this, like, yes, I look at it as sin, like that, like your marriage, I would look at it as a sin. It's no higher than any sins I've committed. It's like we are all on equal ground,
Mhm.
right? So like I think, and if y'all aren't like claiming Jesus or claiming Christianity, then we don't even have to have the conversation. But if you are, or you're curious, like, why is it sin? You know what I mean? Like, this is how I feel. I'm living my life, right? Then we can talk about it. And this is what the Bible says is why it's sin. If you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and you believe that He resurrected, and you believe that believing in Him is how you get to heaven. If you believe that, just that part, then everything He says you had to believe too. Everything in the Bible you would have to believe too, if you believe that part. And it says homosexuality is a sin. And then like if you start with that, then in no way, like it's the realization that it's sinful that I think is trying in a loving way, which is tough, because I'm still going to talk to y'all. If you say like, well, I don't care, you know what I mean? I
The
like
part
for that
for,
for
the
that
part for
reason.
me that connects us is the fact that you said that no sin that you commit is above the sin that we've committed. So in that respect, I respect you a ton, because then it doesn't make it seem like I'm just sinning like I'm just out here just trying to be ridiculous. Like our
Right? If
sins
I
are,
was cheating on my wife and I didn't think that was bad at all,
yeah,
it's like, well, I want to do it. You see how good looking that girl is? Like, I want to do that. Right. And I didn't see anything wrong in it at all. And I'm going to claim Christianity.
yeah,
Do you think y'all should tell me that, hey, that's wrong?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? And I think you are loving me for doing that. I
yeah,
would hope you would do it.
yeah.
Because if you don't, then you're just that person that's just standing on the bleachers when somebody else is like getting the crap beat out of them and you did nothing.
And you videoed it. You were like,
And
yo,
and you videoed it.
shit, a
You're one of
world
those
star.
people. You're one
Yeah.
of those people. And like that's where I would like come from as a Christian to a gay relationship. And whether it's well received or not, it's out of my hands. That's in y'all, your hands or God's hands, whichever. But if in any way you were curious at all, then that's the most loving thing that I could do, is to just have that like hope that you guys could realize that. And that's what it's coming from. It's not in a judgmental way. And if you take it in a judgmental way and then you don't want to talk anymore, I can't do anything about it.
Do you feel that that is why it's very difficult for some people to follow religion, to believe the word, to follow the word, because if they're not in a place to be able to receive it, because babe, what I heard you say is that it might have felt like, and I'm putting words in your mouth, so if it's not completely accurate, but like it felt like judgment until he said no sin is more or less than the other. Then there was the common ground. Then there was the respect, where you weren't necessarily hearing judgment anymore. And I'm not saying you were, but I'm saying like that could have been the meet in the middle kind of place.
No, that hit me. That was like Jeffrey just said, sin is sin. No sin is worse than any other sin.
Right.
That,
right.
yes.
And
Then,
then I think a lot of people use it as a cop out to keep sinning.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's important to be on an even ground and like not like coming like I'm high
I
and
would just
mighty,
say,
you're not, you know.
I'm not trying to do any other sins. So if the only sin I commit is homosexuality, like my bad. I don't see a world where I don't want to be with my wife, love my wife, and try to treat her the way that God would want me to treat her. And I hope that when I get there, he loves me and forgives me, and like the other parts of my life, I've done the best to be a good person and be good for other people, and where I've made mistakes, I've apologized, and haven't done it again. And I just don't think I can stop. And also too, I also believe when I married my wife in a church and my rings were blessed and I said the words, I also made a covenant with God. I believe that I made a covenant with God to protect my wife and protect my kid and take care of my house and my family and whatever. So if it is a sin, and when I get there, I will like throw myself, at his mercy, and just hope that I was a good enough person to deserve his forgiveness, kind of thing. So no, I don't take it as judgment, John, at all. I don't. I get it. I understand it. I want to know, you know what I mean? Like I want to have these conversations. It's important to me. Because I don't.
I do too, because I'm interested in learning, like we said in the beginning, and I think it was part of the message that when you sent it to her or whatever, like there are always going to be things that we might not completely agree on and whatever, but I'm also very curious too. I've also seen in my own journey of, free thinking and having my own thoughts and my own beliefs and whatever, how so many people lean into religion and lean into the word, and really that's their grounding. That's what keeps them grounded and safe and strong, and helps them get through all of life, and in the different ways and whatever. So I'm interested too, even if it's not in the same capacity as to where your faith is or where her faith is. I'm interested in just having these conversations, because I'm also always working on changing, being less triggered, being less victim mentality, I guess you can call it, because I lived that for a very long time. So any conversation that I can have to be less triggered and to be able to be like, okay, John, so what I heard was judgment. And you're like, okay, I
I
get,
didn't mean it that
but
way.
like, okay, I
But
heard.
that's good though. Like I,
Yeah.
and like I don't know
Hey,
what
hey,
you're
yeah,
feeling if you don't say it. You
yeah,
know what I
like,
mean?
hey, I thank you for telling me you heard that. Let me explain it maybe in a different way, so maybe there's a little less judgment feeling. But when it's also that conversation of like, okay, I feel judgment. Why do I feel judgment?
Yeah.
And I'm able to take that time to look within myself of like, why do I feel like this is coming from a place of judgment?
Yeah, it
And
might be
for
an us
me,
problem and not
but
a John problem.
but for me, it's
Like,
because like,
Can I ask you a question really quick? And I don't want it to come across anyway. Do you think you feel judgment because you know it's sin too?
no,
No.
no.
She
And
was
I
quick.
s-
She
and
was
I
quick with that answer too. She
and
was quick with that.
and I say no, because if I'm going to answer it in the way that I'm understanding, you speaking it to me, is that I don't have a belief in God. I don't have
Yeah, she doesn't have that.
I don't
Yeah.
have a
I gotcha.
connection. I don't have a connection with him. I don't have a relationship.
I'll
with
think
loyalty.
about it.
Yeah.
I'll think about what you just asked me, but like she's not going to.
Yeah.
All right.
So for me, no.
Watch Jesus come like a hurricane on
Hey.
Colleen right now. Okay, she's about to
She's
have
gonna
the
wake
biggest
up with the
revival
Lord's
you've
Prayer.
ever seen, Garrett.
Bernie Gannon, yeah, we're not going to solve this tonight, but hopefully John will come back and talk about some more with us. That'd be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. Keeping it real. Hey, God bless you too. And I like having different conversations. I don't always want to have the same conversation.
Same.
Kenneth DeLapp, kudos for all three of you for having the right conversation and being able to still be good dudes. Appreciate you. I hope that's what we keep doing.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Birchfield.
And just for the record, I'm not mad at John. So if anybody's
Yeah,
worried,
I don't.
I'm not mad at John. John is always welcome to come back about
we love
any
John.
topic that we want to talk about. There's no hurtful feelings
And
over
just
here.
He gave me my street cred by calling me a prostitute, so I'm all good
And
about
I'm
that.
the thief in the relationship. So
Homegrown, my guy. Thank you. Had a big boxing workout. Used the recover. It was awesome. And actually, the pet one is actually helping my dog a little bit. It's been like 5 days, and yeah. So Colleen is young. Plenty of time to get her in the club. We'll keep working on it. Fair. Let's talk about why John yells next.
That's a way longer conversation.
My claim to fame was when people always say like somewhere John is yelling at the TV screen right now, and then when you like came into my DMs and he was like, I got to talk about this. I was like, oh my God. One of my podcasts had John somewhere yelling at the television. Yes.
We've made it.
We did it.
We have made it.
Question, is John invited to the barbecue?
Always.
He's invited to our barbecue. I don't even know if I'm invited to the barbecue anymore. If you're talking about like me being half black, like I'm not even sure I'm invited anymore after like all this. So, but he's definitely invited to our barbecue forever.
Yep. Yeah.
But
that's the point of this. That's the point in this podcast, is being able to come and have conversations about different things from different perspective and still not yelling at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, John can yell at the TV, but he didn't yell at us. It's cool.
Sarah Beth Jumper, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for your big comment before too. That definitely hit me in the heart as well. So I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
John, thank you very much again.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You.
I appreciate it, guys.
This was a really good time.
We'll talk again. Don't
we
worry.
will. And then if you guys are around and still awake later at 7:30 Eastern, we're gonna this was my show to pray for my sins, because I'm about to talk to Caleb later at 7:30, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to
Caleb Beaver.
Yeah, Caleb.
Mr. Beaver.
So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need.
What are you gonna talk about with him?
Things I'm gonna need to pray for my sins again. That's why I did this show first.
His military. You should just ask him, have you killed somebody? Just questions like that.
No, we will talk about that, but no, I can't talk about this on the show. I was just pardoned. I'll ask for forgiveness again after the Caleb show. Thank you. All right, guys, it was awesome. Thank you for the greatest analyst in the CrossFit space to come on the show and have a different conversation with us. We appreciate you so much. And if you're around, we'll see you at 7:30.
Bye, guys.
Deuces. Oh.